We live in a time where some of the firearms that we can possess are some of the greatest firearms ever invented. But almost every single one takes its roots from somebody a long, long time ago. And there's been some great firearms designers out there that have revolutionized this industry and have revolutionized the battlefield as well. So what we're going to take a look at is we're going to take a look at the top 10 greatest firearms designers. Number 1, Christian Sharps. Born in 1810, he was the inventor of the Sharps rifle, which was the first commercially successful breech-loading rifle. As a young gun designer at Harp's Ferry, he was very versed in weapons with interchangeable parts. And this brand new single shot with falling block action had accuracy up to 1,000 yards. And both cavalries of the Civil War used this rifle. Number 2, Eliphalet Remington. Born in 1973, he spent his childhood working in his father's forge, and in 23 invented his first rifle. His rifle's precision received such a response that he started production in high numbers. With his 3 sons, he started Remington Sons, which eventually grew to Remington Sons Company. Number 3, Dr. Richard Gatling. Born in 1818, he is best known for his invention of one of the first rapid-firing spring-loaded hand-crank weapons known as the Gatling gun. And this was the forerunner of the modern-day machine gun and was used by Union forces in the Civil War and continued to play a huge role in the expansion of the West. Number 4, Samuel Colt. Born in 1814, he founded Colt Firearms Manufacturing Company, making mass production of revolvers commercially viable. His first U.S. patent on the revolving gun of the Colt Patterson revolving cylinder with multiple chambers and a stationary barrel. This was revolutionary for these times. This then evolved into the Colt Navy and the Army pistols, and eventually led to the single action Army, and Colt to this day makes some of the finest revolvers out there. Number 5, John Garand. Born in 1888, this Canadian-American designer had invented the .30 caliber semi-automatic U.S. service rifle, the M1 Garand, which saw service during World War II, the Korean War, and some service during the Vietnam. General George S. Patton called this rifle the greatest battle implement ever devised, as it replaced the bolt action, the M1903 Springfield, until it was eventually replaced by the M14. Number 6, John T. Thompson. Born in 1940, he was a U.S. Army officer and retired prior to the U.S. entering World War I. Being sympathetic to the Allies, Thompson took on the role as chief engineer of the Remington Arms Company and supervised the Eddystone plant in Chesterfield, Pennsylvania, which was the largest small arms plant in the world, notably manufacturing the Pat 1914 Enfield rifle for the British forces and the Mosin Nagant for Russia. Eventually, he was tasked with inventing a gun to sweep trenches better than the shotgun could. And this led to the invention of the Thompson machine gun with a high rate of fire, firing the massive .45 ACP. Number 7, Sir Hiram Maxim. Born in 1840, being thrown back by the recoil of a rifle as a young child, which inspired him to use that recoil force to automatically rechamber rounds. It was in 1884 he patented the gas recoil and blowback methods of operation. In 1886 came the Maxim gun, which was the very first .30 caliber blowback machine gun, which was invented for and used by the United Kingdom. It's a very large gun that was used on a carriage or a tripod. It was used in almost every country on the planet at some point, and it helped England have influences around the entire world, and it saw service until 1959. Number 8, Benjamin Tyler Henry. Born in 1821. He apprenticed to a gunsmith and worked his way up to a shop foreman at Robbins and Lawrence Arms Company, where he worked with then-young Horace Smith and Daniel Wesson on a rifle known as the Volitional Repeater. Eventually, Smith & Wesson left and started Smith & Wesson and Company. Henry became the supervisor of New Haven Arms Company, where he invented the Henry 44 repeating rifle, which proved to be the most dominant rifle on the battlefield of the American Civil War, alongside muzzle-loading muskets like the Springfield M1861. Number 9, Eugene Stoner. Born in 1922, it was in 1945 that he began working as an engineer for Whitaker Aircraft Company, and in 1954 he became the chief engineer for Armalite. While at Armalite, he designed a series of small arms known as the AR-3, the AR-9, the AR-11, and the AR-12. Out of these, the only successful small arms was the AR-5 survival rifle, now being produced by Henry and Company. In 1955, he completed the revolutionary AR-10, a lightweight, selective fire rifle firing the 7.62 by 51 NATO. The AR-10 was brought to the U.S. military, who had just chosen the M14. Then the U.S. military tasked Stoner with scaling down the AR-10 to fire the smaller 223, which met the military's minimum penetration test. And called the AR-15, it was later adopted by the military and called the M16. And finally, number 10, John Moses Browning. Born in 1855, who was a firearms designer who developed both military and civilian arms, cartridges, and gun parts. Browning is known as the most influential firearms designer of the century. Inventing his first rifle at the age of 13, Browning influenced nearly all categories of firearms and made significant improvements to the single-shot, lever action, pump action, and of course autoloaders. Most successful designs included the M1911 Browning High Power, the M1970 30 caliber water-cooled machine gun, the M1919 30 caliber air-cooled machine gun, the M2 50 caliber machine gun, and the Browning automatic rifle. And his guns are to this day the most copied guns in the world. So there you go. There's my top 10 list of the most influential gun designers out there. If you like this video, click like and subscribe.